Today we're looking at angle relations in triangles. Your essential question is, what are the angle relations in triangles? The learning intention. I'm learning about the relationships between the angles in a triangle. So you've got two warm-up questions. They're both solving using the Pythagorean theorem. This should be a review. The Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So pause the video and see if you remember how. Well, I hope you tried and I hope you can remember how. Now, A and B are the two legs. The legs are the ones that are attached to the right angle. The hypotenuse, which is C, is straight across. So if we're looking at the first one, we have one leg and one hypotenuse. Instead of adding, we will subtract. So D squared will be equal to 13 squared minus 12 squared. The opposite of squaring is taking the square root. So when I take the square root of both sides, D is equal to the square root of 13 squared minus 12 squared. This can be done in one step with your calculator. So I'm going to take and I'm going to do second x squared to get my square root. 13 squared minus 12 squared. Hit my enter and I get 5. So this is equal to 5. And that would be 5 centimeters. Okay, if you have the hypotenuse and the leg, you will subtract. If you've got the two legs, you will add. So for the next one, we know that a squared is equal to 15 squared plus 8 squared. So when I square root both sides, A is equal to the square root of 15 squared minus 8 squared, which is equal to, so when I do it again, it will be this. So I'm going to hit clear on this. I'm going to go second x squared, 15 squared plus 8 squared, close it off, and I get 17. Once again, that will be 17 centimeters. Okay, so that's the Pythagorean theorem. We use it a lot in geometry, and it's not always just finding it from a picture. Sometimes we use it in proof, sometimes we use it to find other things. So that brings us down to our vocabulary. There's a lot of vocabulary in geometry. What is an interior angle? Think about what the word interior means. Interior means inside. An interior angle is an angle formed by two sides of a polygon with a common vertex. An angle formed by two sides of a polygon with a common vertex. Whoops. Remember, the vertex is those corners of our figure. So if you're looking at an interior angle, this would be an interior angle. Okay, that brings us to auxiliary line. What does auxiliary mean? The word auxiliary means something that is helpful or gives assistance. So an auxiliary line is a line drawn in a figure to aid in a proof. A line drawn in a figure to aid in a proof. Okay, that brings us to exterior angle. Exterior angle is what? Exterior means outside. So this is an angle that will be outside of the triangle or the polygon, but it's still connected to it. An exterior angle is an angle formed by one side of a polygon and the extension of an adjacent side. An angle formed by one side of the polygon Okay, I'm going to, I guess it's pretty, you can see that pretty well. An angle formed by one side of a polygon and the extension of another side. So if you're looking at our picture, here's your interiors and here's your exteriors. Okay, the remote interior angle, usually there's two of them. In fact, there has to be two with a triangle. Your remote interior angles is an interior angle that is not adjacent to the exterior angle. An interior angle that is not adjacent to the exterior angle. Remember, the word adjacent means next to. So your interior angle or angles that are not next to the exterior angle. This is your exterior angle. This angle would be adjacent. These are not adjacent. Adjacent, not adjacent. And that brings us to another theorem. It's the interior angle theorem. The measure of the exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the measures of the remote interior angles. The measure of an exterior angle. Is equal to the sum of the measures of the remote interior angles. Didn't quite fit on the page like I needed it to. So, this angle is equal to the measure of these two added together. Is that the only way you can find the exterior angle, or one of these two? No, you can always use the triangle sum theorem, and then the fact you've got a linear pair. So as we're looking at this, how do we apply? Oh, we've got one more theorem. We'll be proving theorems tomorrow, or next class period. If two sides of the triangle are congruent, then. Okay, so think of a triangle. I've got this triangle, I've got these two angles that are congruent. It's not in this case, but pretend it is. What do you think is going to happen with the two angles that are attached, those base angles? Well, they're going to be congruent. If two sides of a triangle are congruent, then the two angles opposite the congruent sides are congruent. The two angles opposite the congruent sides are congruent. Okay, these two angles are sometimes called the base angles. So, we've got the exterior angle theorem, and we've got the isosceles triangle theorem. We'll be using those in proofs. We'll be using those as we try to solve problems. So those are two that you really need to try to remember. So let's look at the first problem. Okay, this is my exterior angle. These are my remote interior angles. So the measure of angle SRP is equal to 25 degrees plus 80 degrees, which is 105 degrees. Any questions? That is your base case. So, how about the next one? Can you set it up yourself? Remember that this is my exterior angle. So my exterior angle is 12x. I'm going to use highlighter so you can see through it. This is my exterior angle. And it's equal to the sum of the other two. Pause the video and see if you can set it up correctly. Okay, the sum of these two is equal to the outside one. 10x minus 10 plus 30 is equal to 12x minus 4. Okay, 10x minus 10 plus 30, this is 20. 30 minus 10 is 20. 10x plus 20 is equal to 12x minus 4. Time to solve. Subtract 10x from both sides. I've canceled out here. 20 is equal to 2x minus 4. Next, I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Cancels out here. 20 plus 4 is 24 is equal to 2x. Divide by 2. And 12 is equal to x. Okay. Now that I know what x is equal to, I can now solve the rest. So the first one, well, if I'm looking up here, will be 10 times 12 minus 10. 10 times 12 is 120. 120 minus 10 is 110. That will be this one here. Okay, 12 times 12 minus 4. 12 squared is 144 minus 4, and you get 140 degrees. I also could have done 30 plus 110 and got 140 degrees also. Okay, so if we have that isosceles triangle, isosceles means you've got two equal sides. Think logically. If this one is 75, what does this one also have to be? It has to be 75 degrees also. So, to find x, we will take 180, that's your triangle sum theorem, minus 75 plus 75 is equal to x. Okay, 75 and 75, if I've got all those quarters, I've got $1.50. 180 degrees minus 150 degrees is equal to 30 degrees. So this angle here is 30 degrees. Can I find that outside angle? Sure can. Remember, we've got that linear pair. Linear pairs are supplemental. So it's 180 degrees minus 75 degrees. And I get 105 degrees. So with that, in a short time, we are able to find all the angles of a triangle. So let's look at the next one. This one's short and simple. If the angles are congruent, what do we know about the sides? Well, they're going to be congruent also. So if this side is 6, this side is also 6. We don't know what units they're in, but we do know that that's what's going to happen. For the last one, find x and y and all the measures possible. So pause the video. See if you can set this up. Set it up for x first. and then for y second, realizing that you have those two congruent sides. This triangle is isosceles. Well, I hope you paused the video and tried to set it up on your own. So if we're looking for x, these two tick marks tell me that I have an isosceles triangle. If this angle is 6x plus 8, this one is also 6x plus 8 degrees. So we can take 2 times 6x plus 8 plus 80 degrees, and this is in degrees, and that is the interior angle of a triangle, which add up to 180 degrees. Now you could have just put 6x plus 8 plus 6x plus 8. So now I'm going to distribute. 2 times 6 is 12, so this is 12x, plus 2 times 8 is 16, plus 80 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. Combine your like terms. 12x plus 96 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. Now we can solve for x. Step 1. Subtract 96 from both sides. I've eliminated it here. 12x is equal to 180 minus 96 would be not 64, it might see 180 minus 96 is 84, not 64, 84. Okay, now divide by 12. Okay, so 84 divided by 12 is 7. X equals 7. I'm not done yet because I need to find the angle of the measure of this angle here. So I will use substitution. 6x plus 8 is equal to 6 times 7 plus 8. 6 times 7 is 42 plus 8, and that gives me 50 degrees. So each of these are 50 degrees. So I found my angles. And what do I know about the two sides? Well, they're congruent because both of them have that single tick mark. So I can set them up equal to each other. 4y minus 2 is equal to 2y plus 2. Okay, I know 2y is the smaller of my variables, so I'll subtract it from both sides. I've eliminated here. 4y minus 2 is equal to 2. I will add 2 to both sides. I've eliminated it. 4y is equal to 4. Divide by 4. At this point you should know what y is. Y is equal to 1. So either one they're equally easy to, with y being 1, so this would be 2 times 1 plus 2, which gives me 4. So both of these are 4 units. So how do you know when you're successful? You know you're successful when you can use the relations between the angles of a triangle to solve different problems. And so these are triangle, the angles of the relations of the angles of a triangle.